We are taught in school, and it is a belief, and I stress the word belief, that is held by almost the whole world, that the stars are basically the same as the sun, but are at great distances from the earth. We are taught that we are in a solar system in which the sun is attracting other planets by gravity, and therefore they orbit the sun. They circle around the sun. We are taught that the distances of these stars or suns is so great that it needs to be measured in light years, the distance to them, or the speed of light, which is basically this is the speed that something would travel in a year if it was traveling at the speed of light. So we are taught that the nearest star system closest to our sun is about 4.22 light years from the Earth and is the closest star other than the sun, and it's Alpha Centauri A and B. The average distance between them is about 23 astronomical units, a little more than the distance between the sun and Uranus. This is the point of view and teachings of most universities, and it is taught worldwide. And actually, everyone that is alive today was taught this cosmology. Now, I have learned in the last few years that there is a completely different understanding, and again, I'll stress the word belief, a different understanding and belief about what the stars are and what they are doing in the night sky. And this new way of understanding is new to me and is new to most people that are in the world, but it is an understanding that to me makes much more sense, and I actually believe something other than what the universities teach. This idea that I have, this understanding, comes from ancient scriptures, such as the Bible, the Book of Enoch, and many other ancient writings. So one of the clearest chapters and writings about the makeup of the sky concerning the stars is found in Enoch, in the Book of Enoch, chapter 71. So I'm going to read that to you, and then we will discuss this different understanding of cosmology. And I'm going to call it a new understanding because to me it's new. And I believe that to you it is probably new too. I don't think anybody had this understanding 5 years ago that was alive in the world. And now it's been revealed through these scriptures that there is another understanding, another way to look at this creation and the sky and everything and understand it in an entirely different way than them being suns that are at a great distance. Okay, that's a theory, and I have to stress that. That is a theory that the universities are teaching about the stars. Okay? Here's Enoch chapter 71. And it came to pass after this that my spirit was translated, and it ascended into the heavens, and I saw the holy sons of God. They were stepping on flames of fire. Their garments were white, and their raiment, and their faces shone like snow. And I saw two streams of fire, and the light of that fire shone like hyacinth. And I fell on my face before the Lord of spirits. And the angel Michael, one of the archangels, seized me by my right hand and lifted me up and led me forth into all the secrets. And he showed me all the secrets of righteousness. And he showed me all the secrets of the ends of the heaven, and all the chambers of all the stars, and all the luminaries, whence they proceed before the face of the holy ones. And he translated my spirit into the heaven of heavens. And I saw there, as it were, a structure built of crystals. And between those crystals, tongues of living fire. And my spirit saw the girdle which girt that house of fire, and on its four sides were streams full of living fire, and they girt that house. And round about were seraphim, cherubim, and Ophanim. And these are they who sleep not, and guard the throne of his glory. And I saw angels who could not be counted, 1,000 thousands, and 10,000 times 10,000, encircling that house. And Michael and Raphael and Gabriel and Phanuel and the holy angels who were above the heavens go in and out of that house. And they came forth from that house, and Michael and Gabriel and Raphael and Phanuel and many holy angels without number. And with them the head of days, his head white and pure as wool, and his raiment indescribable. So that's Enoch 71. And as you can tell in those writings, what was being revealed to Enoch, or at least what Enoch wrote that was being revealed to him, was the secrets of righteousness. And one of the first things he saw was 1,000 thousands of angels that could not be counted, 1,000 thousands and 10,000 times 10,000 encircling that house. Now I want to show you star trails, and I don't think I really have to explain to you what I'm believing, and I stress the word belief. I'm believing that these stars I believe they are angels, and that they are encircling that house that's on the screen right now in the center, which would be the North Star. This is a different way of understanding. So if we actually look up at the heavens and we do this type of star trail photography, which, again, this is new. No human eyes ever saw this depiction of the stars in this way until about 1930. It was the first time this was ever photographed like this. So this is a somewhat new understanding of what the sky is doing. Nobody ever saw this until about 1930. It's a new type of photography that shows us, it visualizes for us a different thing happening in the sky. So there's another way to understand the stars, and it comes from the ancient prophets of God. Now that was just the book of Enoch, chapter 71 that we read, but there's many prophecies concerning the knowledge about the stars, and it's foretold in the Bible. In Isaiah 43 verse 9, it says, "Let all the nations be gathered together, and let the people be assembled. Who among them can declare this, and show us former things? Let them bring forth their witnesses, that they may be justified, or let them hear and say, it is truth." Let's go over that again really quick. He asked a question. He said, who among them can declare and show us former things? What's that talking about? Isaiah 48 verse 3, "I have declared the former things from the beginning, and they went forth out of my mouth. And I showed them, I did them suddenly, and they came to pass." I'm going to give you an example of my understanding of what that verse is saying. He declared the former things from the beginning, and they went forth out of his mouth. He did them suddenly and showed them, and they came to pass. I'm just picturing when Jesus said, "Let there be light," and there was light. It came out of his mouth, and then it came to pass out of his mouth. So what would the former things be? That would be everything that Jesus said in the first 6 days of this creation. All the words he spoke and declared, and then they came to pass, and suddenly, and he showed them. 6 days. So this is saying, this is asking who among them can declare this, and declare this 6 days of creation. That's really what this is saying. And if you look at the world today, if you look at my channel, and there's several other channels, there is a topic of discussion that is a worldwide debate. Everybody almost has heard about it. And it is whether the earth is a spinning ball or whether it is not, and it's a plane of existence that's stationary and not moving. These are completely opposite understandings, and yet I believe one, and people I know believe the other. Okay? So it is a belief. I don't believe for 1 second that I'm living on a spinning, orbiting sphere that's going through a vacuum of space, yet there's air and there's no barrier, right? These kinds of things don't make any sense to me. I think it's much more logical that the night sky, the stars, and all the things up in the sky are actually celestial. They're of a different nature than we are experiencing on the earth. I don't know the exact details of that nature. I'm just saying that it's not the same physical, material reality that we are all experiencing and used to. So in Enoch chapter 80, there's another prophecy about the stars. In verse 7, it says, "And the whole order of the stars shall be concealed from the sinners. And the thoughts of those on the earth shall err concerning them, and they shall be altered from all their ways. Yea, they shall err and take them to be gods. And evils shall be multiplied upon them, and punishment shall come upon them so as to destroy all." So this prophecy here is a really serious one. It's saying that the people who are sinning in the end, that they wouldn't understand what the order of the stars was. Now, the last 5 years is when I've changed my understanding and belief about what the stars are. In the last 5 years, I've changed from believing what the world teaches and what the universities teach to believing in what the scriptures teach. And it's two completely different things. So in Enoch chapter 93, verse 10, there's a prophecy of this happening. And what I mean this happening is people having it revealed to them what the truth was, and it wouldn't be concealed from them. So the whole order of the stars shall be concealed from the sinners. But in Enoch 93 verse 10 it says, "And at its close shall be the elect righteous of the eternal plant of righteousness, to receive sevenfold instruction concerning all his creation." I think that's what's happening in the last 5 years. And actually it's even much more of a topic than just cosmology. It's actually has to do with eternal life. And now a lot of people don't like when I say that, but I'm going to quote Jesus here. When his disciples asked him what would be the signs of his return, one of the things he said was in Matthew 24 verse 14. He said, "And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come." So Jesus is saying that before the end comes, a gospel of the kingdom would be preached in all nations as a witness. It reminds me of Isaiah 43 when it says, "Let them bring forth their witnesses, that they may be justified, or let them hear and say, it is truth." Or in John 15 verse 27 it says, "And ye also shall bear witness, because ye have been with me from the beginning." So I don't know what all these things mean, but I know that Jesus said that we would bear witness to the truth. And in Isaiah 43 verse 9 it says that they may be justified, or let them hear and say, it is truth. So that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm here saying today, is that there's a lie, and it comes from universities, and it comes from having the truth about the stars concealed from these universities. They don't know the truth. They're teaching lies, and they believe the lies. So in Psalm 147 verse 4 it says, "He telleth the number of the stars, he calleth them all by their names." Psalm 148 verse 3 says, "Praise ye him, sun and moon. Praise him, all ye stars of light." Isaiah 14 verse 13, this is what Lucifer says in his heart. "For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also in the congregation of the, or in the mount, oh, I'm sorry. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. Daniel 8 verse 10, he's seeing a vision, and he sees something going all the way up to the stars. Daniel 8 verse 10, and it waxed great, even to the host of heaven, and it cast down some of the host and of the stars to the ground and stamped upon them. And it also says this in Daniel 12 verse 3, it says, and they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, and they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever. And then we find out about the planets here in Jude 1 verse 13, when it says, raging waves of the sea, foaming out their own shame, wandering stars, to whom is reserved the blackness of darkness forever. So the wandering stars are imprisoned in darkness. Okay, Genesis 1 verse 16 says, and God made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. And it also says that he put them in the firmament to be for signs, seasons, days, and years. So the stars in the firmament are actually a calendar or a clock or a schedule, whatever you want to call it. It's a clock in the sky. So then in Enoch chapter 18 verse 4, it says, I saw the winds of heaven which turn and bring the circumference of the sun and all the stars to their setting. I saw the winds on the earth carrying the clouds. I saw the path of the angels. I saw at the end of the earth the firmament of heaven above. This is sounding to me like these stars are clearly commanded to go on the courses that they go. They're ordained by God to do what they do. And they ride on the path of angels. They are the path of the angels. These are angels. This is what I believe. So the sky at night, if you pay attention to it, it's changing. So I would put a warning out for those who are not looking up at this clock, this schedule, this calendar up in the sky, to check it out. There are things changing up there, and it's men who are changing things. And I think that this is a scary thing for the time we live in because of what the prophets wrote. Destruction cometh. So that is what I believe the stars are, is angels. And they are circling in the firmament, which turns along with the sun and moon, circling over the earth. They're doing a circle above the flat earth. That's what I believe. So I hope you guys got some knowledge from this, or maybe you can laugh at it, do whatever you want. But I needed to share what I believe the stars are and what I used to understand them to be, which I believe now is wrong. So have a great day. Thank you for listening.
In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth.
The moon has 4 names: Asanja, Ebla, Benes, Ere. The sun has 2 names: Orgerez, Tomez. Enoch 78. The question I'm going to ask here is, what are the planets? 7 of them: Mars, Venus, Mercury, Uranus, Jupiter, Saturn, and Neptune. These are evil planeo, seducers. They lead astray, they cause to wander, they deceive. These 7, at the beginning of their rising, they didn't come out at their appointed time that God ordained and commanded them. And so he was angry with them, and he bound them in the blackness of darkness until judgment. He imprisoned them. Then, in Genesis 6, there were angels that came down to the earth and lusted after the daughters of men. And they created offspring with these daughters of men. And the offspring were mighty giants and very evil. And when these giants died, their spirits would stay on the earth and become evil spirits. And the angels that came down would be buried in the earth for 70 generations. And then when that time came, they would be led off to the abyss of fire. And the abyss of fire is also known as outer darkness, the blackness of darkness, Sheol, many different names and descriptions, the wilderness. It's a spiritual place, and it's a prison. This is why so many people today are gathered against this organization, I should say these organizations, that call themselves space agencies. They are not going to a place that is a solar system. They're being lured into outer darkness, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Nobody realized this. And so Apollo came and went with the moon missions. And they landed on the moon, they say. But the moon is a light. And as I said a few minutes ago, it has 4 names: Asanja, Ebla, Benese, and Ere. So, as children, everyone alive today was taught that these 7 evil, transgressing, bound up, imprisoned luminaries were places to go. And now we have Elon Musk trying to go to Mars to create a world for humanity, just in case this world goes bad. This is a mistake to take part in any of this. It's a mistake to believe in any of this. It's a mistake to believe that this is for humanity. It's not. It's the devil and the demons. The fallen angels have now invited men by their inspiration. They've invited men to create technology, and they've taught men, especially Elon Musk, they've taught him how to go into that darkness, and they're coming back through into the earth because men are basically opening the jail cell. So although we were taught these planets were places in a solar system, they're not. The stars in the sky, besides these 7, all circle the North Star. These 7 are the only ones that don't. And actually, there's an 8th one now, because there's the space station. 8 wandering stars. John, in Revelation 17, went to a place where there were 7 mountains, and the 8th was the beast. And the reason why that interests me is because Enoch also went to a place that had 7 mountains. And guess what those mountains were? They were those 7 stars that didn't obey God. And it's even said in the book of Enoch that those fallen angels and those 7 transgressing stars would defile mankind and lead them astray into sacrificing to demons as gods. By assuming many different forms. We're in a spiritual battle today, and almost everybody's probably not aware of the things that I just explained. And that means you're losing the battle. Because we need to come out of this place. This place where there's planets, this solar system where there's a globe. Run away from it. It's nothing but wickedness. And it is a trick that the devil is still deceiving many of you with. And no, I don't know everything. But I do know this. And I didn't learn this from myself. I learned it from a higher power that's trying to get this information to people in this physical material world we live in, called the Earth. This information comes down from heaven by the old writings of the prophets. They wrote about these things long ago. And it was even written that it would be kept secret until the end. And then it would be revealed. The sevenfold doctrine of God's whole creation would be received in the world at the end. That's today. So what I'm saying is, jump off the ball, It's flat. It's stationary. You know it. I know it. The pride that makes you want to stay on that globe isn't worth it. Get rid of it. I did. It's the best thing I ever did. The earth is a plane. And live in the world that you experience. Don't live in the world that this world and science has tried to sell us all. Because it's false. And all their efforts in the sky will come to naught. And God won't have any pity. Come out of her, my people. Don't partake in her sins, because they're reaching up to heaven, and God has remembered her iniquities. Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him.
And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men.
Sitting on a dragon on top of the beast.
It's a bottomless pit.
In this abyss of darkness.
I really believe in the space frontier, the abyss, so to speak.
The good abyss. The good abyss.